Your best employee didn't quit suddenly. They didn't wake up this morning and decide it was over. No, they've been leaving. Slowly. Day by day, hour by hour. Through every moment of friction you didn't even realize you were creating. They were leaving every time they had to repeat themselves. Every time they had to search through 3 different apps for a piece of missing information. Every time they were forced to wait for you, with no clarity on what was happening next. They were leaving. This is the silent killer of growth. Friction. Most founders think their people leave for more money or better perks. They don't. They leave because they are tired of fighting the system just to do the job you hired them for. People don't leave companies. They leave friction. They leave the feeling of walking through waist-deep water every single Tuesday. Today we're going to build the systems that remove that water. We're going to build a business they don't want to escape. Let's slow this down, because this is what your business actually feels like. From their side, not from your dashboard, not from your P&L, but from the seat of the person actually moving the needle for you. A task comes in, it's not clear. The instructions are vague, the goal is moving, and the why is missing. So what do? They ask for clarity, and then the first break happens. They wait. No response. You're busy, you're in a meeting, you're doing founder things. So they wait. They try anyway because they care. But because the input was broken, the output is broken. It's wrong. Now they have to redo it. This is not work anymore. This is not the value add you hired them for. This is friction. This is the tax they pay for working in your chaos. And eventually, they'll stop paying it. They'll just leave. You think you have a team problem. You think you need to hire better or pay more or motivate them. You don't. You have a movement problem. Work is not flowing. It's stopping. It's restarting. It's breaking. And it's exhausting. Let's go to the exact moment where things start to break. The very first point of failure in almost every business I've ever seen. The moment a client, or you, sends a request. We're talking about input control. It starts so simply. A client sends a message, a Slack ping, an email. Hey, I need this done. It feels efficient. It feels like momentum. But it's actually a trap. It's the birth of decision debt. Now watch what usually happens. You respond immediately. You ask a quick question. They reply. Then someone else on the team joins the thread. Now there are multiple messages across multiple platforms. Decisions are being made in the noise. And already, the information is scattered. It exists in a thread that will be buried in 3 hours. It exists in the memory of 3 different people who all heard something slightly different. The foundation of the work is already cracked. Now come back to this, tomorrow, or next week. Try to figure out what was actually agreed, what needs to be done right now, and who exactly is responsible for it. You can't, because it wasn't captured. And now your team can't move. They are stuck in the research phase of a task that should have been simple. They are spending their energy finding the work rather than doing the work. This is how you burn out your best people. So here's the exact move. Before you respond, before you ping the team, before you say, got it, pause. You must log the request, not later when you have time. Immediately, as a reflex. Because if it's not captured, it disappears. It becomes a ghost that haunts your team's productivity. In this house, if it's not logged, it doesn't exist. That simple rule changes everything. It creates a single source of truth. Every unlogged request is a piece of decision debt. You're borrowing clarity from the future, and you're going to pay for it with interest in the form of mistakes, delays, and frustrated employees. Stop borrowing. Start logging. Every unlogged request is a piece of decision debt. You're borrowing clarity from the future, and you're going to pay for it with interest in the form of mistakes, delays, and frustrated employees. Stop borrowing. Start logging. The same task gets explained 2, 3, sometimes 4 times. Each time it's explained, the message changes slightly. The why gets lost. The how gets confused. And the person receiving it feels the weight of your lack of clarity. Now look at this from your best employee's perspective. They are high-level operators, but they aren't doing the work. They are rebuilding context. Again, they are trying to figure out what you meant. That's not what they want to do. Here's the exact system. Every handoff follows the same format. No exceptions. We don't do vague, we do structured. 3 things must accompany every single handoff in this business. No format, no handoff. Most people move on immediately. They finish the task and jump to the next one. No update, no signal, no notification. They think they're being efficient. They're actually being a bottleneck. They are creating an information vacuum. This is how a 1-hour task becomes a 2-day delay. It's not a lack of effort. It's a lack of visibility. Your business is moving at the speed of your slowest information update. If the updates are slow, the business is slow. Your team asks, "What should I do here? Is this price okay? Can I approve this?" And what do? You answer. You're the expert. You're the founder. You have the answers. So you give them. Every single time. Before, work was unclear and arrived in bursts of noise. Transitions were messy and required constant explanation. Progress was invisible, creating anxiety. And every decision was delayed, waiting on you. That is chaos. And if your system creates friction, if it makes them feel incompetent because they don't have what they need to move, they will leave. They have to. Because A players cannot stand to be stagnant. It's against their nature. Most people move on immediately. They finish the task and jump to the next one. No update, no signal, no notification. They think they're being efficient. They're actually being a bottleneck. They are creating an information vacuum. Someone else, maybe it's you, maybe it's a client, is waiting. They don't know the task is done, so they wait. An hour passes, a day passes, sometimes a whole weekend passes, because there was no signal. This is how a 1-hour task becomes a 2-day delay. It's not a lack of effort, it's a lack of visibility. Your business is moving at the speed of your slowest information update. If the updates are slow, the business is slow. Here's the system. At completion, and I mean the exact second of completion, you must update 2 things. It takes 10 seconds, but it saves hours of downstream anxiety. 1. The status. 2. The next action. Updating the status tells the world the work is ready. Updating the next action tells the world who is up next. It passes the baton. It keeps the flow moving without anyone having to ask, "Is it done yet?" No update means it's not done, even if the work is perfect, even if it's sitting in a folder. If the system doesn't see it, it doesn't exist. Visible work is moving work. Invisible work is stagnant work. Choose movement. Visibility builds trust. When you can see the work moving, you stop micromanaging. When the team can see the work moving, they stop worrying. You replace anxiety with certainty. That is what a high-performing team feels like. Now, the hidden bottleneck. The one that keeps you working 14 hours a day while your team waits for your input. We're talking about decisions. This is the hardest one for founders to let go of, but it's the most important. Your team asks, "What should I do here? Is this price okay? Can I approve this?" And what do? You answer. You're the expert. You're the founder. You have the answers. So you give them every single time. But here's the reality. You didn't build a team. You built dependency. You've trained your people to stop thinking and start waiting. You've become the central processor for every minor choice in the business. You are the bottleneck. Here's the move. Every repeated decision must become a rule. If you find yourself answering the same question twice, you shouldn't answer it a third time. You should write a rule that answers it for you. Forever. We're talking about pricing rules, approval limits, standard responses for common client issues. You're not just giving an answer, you're giving a framework. You're delegating the decision, not just the task. That is true leverage. If it repeats, systemize it. Your goal is to make yourself obsolete for the routine. If the business needs your permission to move, it will never scale. Scale happens when the rules move the business, not the founder. Rules don't restrict your team, they free them. They provide the boundaries within which they can run at full speed. They remove the fear of making a mistake because the rule is the authority. That is how you empower people. Now step back and look at the transformation. This isn't just about productivity. This is about a fundamental shift in how your business exists. Let's look at the before and after. It's a different world. Before, work was unclear and arrived in bursts of noise. Transitions were messy and required constant explanation. Progress was invisible, creating anxiety. And every decision was delayed, waiting on you. That is chaos. After, work is captured immediately and accurately. Transitions are structured and silent. Progress is visible to everyone at all times. And decisions are automatic, governed by rules. That is flow. And flow is where growth lives. Flow replaces chaos. When flow is the default, your team doesn't have to fight to do their jobs. They just do them. They feel capable, they feel successful, and they feel like they are part of something that actually works. Your best employees, the A players you work so hard to find, don't stay because of the coffee or the culture or the pressure. They stay where they can work without friction. They stay where the system honors their talent. And if your system creates friction, if it makes them feel incompetent because they don't have what they need to move, they will leave. They have to. Because A players cannot stand to be stagnant. It's against their nature. You don't retain people with speeches. You retain them with structure. You build systems they don't want to escape because those systems allow them to be their best selves. You build a business that runs on logic, not hope. You don't retain people. You build systems they don't want to escape. That is the founder's true job. Not doing the work, but designing the way the work gets done. It's time to start designing. If your business still runs on chats, on memory, and on repeated explanations, you're at risk. You're losing people you haven't even hired yet. Start here. Start with these 4 systems: capture, handoff, visibility, decisions. Start with capture. Every request, every time, in the log. No exceptions. Create the single source of truth today. Stop the noise before it starts. This is the foundation of everything else. Then fix the handoff. No more vague explanations. No more voice notes without structure. Give them the context they need to run. Respect their time, and they will respect your vision. Format is speed. Then demand visibility. Update the status. Update the next action. Make the work visible so the team can move without you. Replace the "is it done" pings with real-time certainty. Visible work is moving work. And finally, delegate decisions. Turn your expertise into rules. Build the framework that allows your team to think for themselves. If it repeats, systemize it. Scale the logic, not the labor. This is how you win. The choice is yours. You can keep fighting the friction, or you can build the flow. One path leads to burnout. The other leads to a business that outlasts you. Build the systems. Keep your people. Grow.